Hey guys, Jerred Moon here from Minute 3 Fitness, and today I want to talk to you about deliberate practice. Really, I'm going to talk to you about the 10,000 hour rule, why it's BS, and I'm also going to talk about why you are not seeing the results you should be seeing and how to go about seeing the results you want to see.
Now, I'm sure some of you have heard of the 10,000 hour rule, but if you haven't, let me fill you in. In 1993, a study was published on a group of violin students in a music academy in Berlin. It stated that the most accomplished students had put in an average of 10,000 hours of practice by their 20th birthday. That paper would go on to become a major part of the scientific literature on expert performers, but only attracted mainstream attention after Outliers was published by Malcolm Gladwell. In short, it made the world believe that if you simply put in 10,000 hours, you would be world class. But there are some major issues with the 10,000 hour rule. First, there's nothing special or magical about 10,000 hours. Gladwell could have just as easily mentioned the average amount of time the best violin students had practiced by the time they were 18, which was approximately 7,400 hours, but he chose to refer to the total practice time they had accumulated by the time they were 20 because it was a nice round number. See, pianists who win the international piano competitions tend to do so when they're around 30 years old, and thus they've probably put in about 20,000 to 25,000 hours of practice by then. 10,000 hours is only halfway down that path. Second, the number of 10,000 hours at age 20 for the best violinist was only an average. Half of the 10 violinists in that group hadn't actually accumulated 10,000 hours at that age. Gladwell misunderstood this fact and incorrectly claimed that all violinists in that group had accumulated over 10,000 hours. Third and lastly, practice itself is not enough. See, Gladwell didn't distinguish between the type of practice that the musicians in the study did, a very specific sort of practice referred to as deliberate practice, which involves constantly pushing oneself beyond one's comfort zone, following training activities designed by an expert to develop specific abilities, and using feedback to identify weaknesses and work on them, as opposed to just normal, arbitrary practice of putting in the time. They are very different, and deliberate practice is what I want to talk to you about today. In fitness, it doesn't matter if you're beginner or advanced. If you're new and pick up a weight loss program, you have a time period of rapid adaptations that can involve quickly acquiring new skills, weight loss, or quick movement towards your goal. Likewise, advanced athletes may not have the same level of rapid adaptation because it's most likely already occurred unless they're picking up a new skill set in which they would still see that level of rapid adaptation. But conversely, they have gotten very comfortable. They have gotten to a comfortable level and enjoy the progress they have achieved. Either way, you're most likely going to hit the OK Plateau. Josh Foer coined the name the OK Plateau while he was studying human skill acquisition for a story on memory champions. OK Plateaus exist in every field of human endeavor. It exists in the field of human memory, it exists in sports, music, science, and technology, and as you might imagine, it exists in fitness. The OK Plateau tells us that experience is not the road to becoming better. Don't misunderstand me. If you're consciously trying to get better, experience is necessary. But if you aren't making an effort to improve, experience means nothing. Once the OK Plateau kicks in, we unconsciously decide that we are good enough at what we're doing, and we turn off the conscious analysis that allows us to learn and improve. So what do we do to make sure that we are continually meeting our goals and going further and further in fitness? Well, first off, it can't be some secondary auxiliary task. You have to make fitness deliberate practice, continually getting better at something. So turn off the podcast while you are hitting the heavy squats, while you are doing the sprints, and focus, be intense, go all in. Turn off the TV while walking on the treadmill, and don't be lazy. But ultimately, if we wanted to break it into some actionable steps for you, set goals that stretch you and practice getting better at them. Deliberate practice at those goals. I want to move 5 more pounds on the bar. I want to get 5 seconds faster. And you keep chipping away at that until you can no longer meet those goals and move on to new ones. You also need to study your failures and shortcomings. Why aren't you meeting your goal? Do you need a coach? Do you need some other skill? Do you need to work on a weakness somewhere else? Study your failures and your shortcomings and get better at them. Attack them, tackle them with intensity. Also, don't allow your time in the gym to ever become autopilot, where you are just going through the motion, where you have turned off your brain and gone into wonderland, and by the end of your training session, you can't really remember your sets and reps because you are focused somewhere else. Your mind was elsewhere. Be focused, be intense. And lastly, get a coach, get a mentor, or emulate someone that you admire. Remember what I said, that practice itself isn't good enough. You need to constantly be pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. You need to follow training activities designed by an expert, which could be a coach or someone who knows programming. And you need to develop specific abilities in your fitness, and you need to use the feedback that you get from yourself through watching videos or from a coach or from a friend. Identify those weaknesses and work on them and crush them. A coach, mentor, training partner, or someone you emulate can do this for you. In the end, it will be deliberate practice that makes you better, that puts you on a quest to seeing results for a very, very long time. Or you could be okay with the OK Plateau and sail away into the world of good enough, mediocrity, and complacency. The choice is yours.